Hello, Internet. It's time to read the Bible. Hope you appreciate this. I was comfy in bed, and then I remembered I hadn't done this yet, so got my sleeping cap on. Anyway, we got May 7th, uh, beginning First Samuel now. Chapter 1, verse 1 to chapter 2, verse 21. Uh, I'll do my old man. This is the story of Elkanan, a man of the tribe of Ephraim who lived in Ramathaim Zophim in the hills of Ephraim. His father's name was Jeroam. His grandfather was Elihu. His great-grandfather was Tohu. His great-great-grandfather was Zuph. He had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Peninnah had some children, but Hannah didn't. Each year, Elkanah and his family journeyed to the tabernacle at Shiloh to worship the Lord of the heavens and to sacrifice to him. The priests on duty at the time were the two sons of Elihophni and, oh no, the two sons of Eli, and there's a dash, I thought it was a hyphen. So the two sons' names are Hophni and Phinehas. On the day he presented his sacrifice, Elkanah would celebrate the happy occasion by giving presents to Peninnah and her children. But although he loved Hannah very much, he could give her only one present, for the Lord had sealed her womb, so she had no children to give presents to. Peninnah made matters worse by taunting Hannah because of her barrenness. Every year it was the same, Peninnah scoffing and laughing at her as they went to Shiloh, making her cry so much she couldn't eat. "What's the matter, Hannah?" Elkanah would exclaim. "Why aren't you eating? Why make such a fuss over having no children? Isn't having me better than having 10 sons?" One evening after supper, when they were at Shiloh, Hannah went over to the tabernacle. Eli the priest was sitting at his customary place beside the entrance. She was in deep anguish and was crying bitterly as she prayed to the Lord. As she made this vow, "O Lord of heaven, if you will look down upon my sorrow and answer my prayer and give me a son, then I will give him back to you, and he'll be yours for his entire lifetime, and his hair shall never be cut." Eli noticed her mouth moving as she was praying silently, and hearing no sound, he thought she had been drinking. "Must you come here drunk?" he demanded. "Throw away your bottle." "Oh, no, sir," she replied. "I am not drunk, but I am very sad, and I was pouring out my heart to the Lord. Please don't think I am just some drunken bum." "In that case," Eli said, "cheer up. May the Lord of Israel grant you your petition, whatever it is." "Oh, thank you, sir," she exclaimed, and went happily back and began to take her meals again. The entire family was up early the next morning and went to the tabernacle to worship the Lord once more. Then they returned home to Ramah, and when Elkanah slept with Hannah, the Lord remembered her petition. In the process of time, a baby boy was born to her, as it was foretold. Sorry, I'm referencing a very specific old man from a very niche movie called The Guardians of Ga'Hoole about talking owls. It wasn't even an owl doing this voice. It was like and it was like a, I want to say it was an echidna or something. It was some odd animal. It was different. That was entirely irrelevant to the Bible verse I'm reading. I apologize. But if you know the voice, I applaud your taste. That movie is underrated. Anyway, oh, I've lost my place in my math. Ah, yes. So the baby boy was born to her. She named him Samuel, meaning asked of God, because, as she said, "I asked the Lord for him." The next year, Elkanah and Peninnah and her children went on the annual trip to the tabernacle without Hannah, for she told her husband, Wait until the baby is weaned, and then I will take him to the tabernacle and leave him there. Well, whatever you think is best, Elkanah agreed. May the Lord's will be done. So she stayed home until the baby was weaned. Then, though he was still so small, they took him to the tabernacle in Shiloh along with a 3-year-old bull for the sacrifice, and a bushel of flour and some wine. After the sacrifice, they took the child to Eli. Sir, do you remember me? Hannah asked. I am the woman who stood here at the time praying to the Lord. I asked him to give me this child, and he has given me my request. Now I am giving him to the Lord, for as he lives, so she left him there at the tabernacle for the Lord to use. This was Hannah's prayer. How I rejoice in the Lord! How he has blessed me! Now I have an answer for my enemies. For the Lord has solved my problem. How I rejoice! No one is as holy as the Lord. No, there is no other God, nor any rock like our God. Quit acting so proud and arrogant. The Lord knows what you have done, and he will judge your deeds. Those who were mighty are mighty no more. Those who were weak are now strong. Those who were well are now starving. Those who were starving are fed. The barren woman now has 7 children. She with many children has no more. The Lord kills, the Lord gives life. Some he causes to be poor, and others to be rich. He cuts one down and lifts up another. He lifts the poor from the dust, yes, from the pile of ashes, and treats the seats of honor, for all the earth is the Lord's, and he has set the world in order. He will protect his godly ones, but the wicked shall be silenced in darkness. No one shall succeed by strength alone. Those who fight against the Lord shall be broken. He thunders against them with heaven. He judges throughout the earth. He gives mighty strength to his king, and gives it great glory to his anointed one. So they returned home to Ramah without Samuel. And the child became the Lord's helper, for he assisted Eli the priest. Now the sons of Eli were evil men who didn't love the Lord. It was their regular practice to send out a servant whenever anyone was offering a sacrifice. And while the flesh of the sacrificed animal was boiling, the servant would put a 3-pronged flesh hook into the pot and demand that whatever it brought up to be given to Eli's sons. They treated all of the Israelites in this way when they came to Shiloh to worship. Sometimes the servant would come even before the rite of burning the fat on the altar had been performed, and he would demand the raw meat before it was boiled, so that it could be used for roasting. If the man offering the sacrifice replied, "Take as much as you want, but the fat must first be burned, as the law requires," then the servant would say, "No, give it to me now, or I'll take it by force." So the sin of these young men was very great in the eyes of the Lord, for they treated the people's offering to the Lord with contempt. Samuel, though an only child, was the Lord's helper and wore a little linen robe just like the priests. Each year his mother made a little coat for him and brought it to him when she came with her husband for the sacrifice. Before they returned home, Eli would bless Elkanah and Hannah, and ask God to give them other children to take the place of the one they had given to the Lord. And the Lord gave Hannah 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, Samuel grew up in the service of the Lord. I hope this voice isn't getting irritating. I'm rather enjoying it. As it was foretold. I don't know why I enjoy this voice so much. This character was in the movie for a grand total of maybe 3 minutes. And he gave, for no apparent reason, a prophecy which one person didn't believe. So he said, and it was foretold there will be one who doubts. Who doubts. And that's it. That's this entire role in the movie. It's like it has nothing to do with the plot. He could be taken out of it, and it would be no relevant information lost. It was basically encouragement, but the movie would be less without him. I'm sorry, this is entirely irrelevant to the story. But we finished the Samuel verses. Let us move on to Jonathan, chapter 5, verses 1 through 23. Afterwards, Jesus returned to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish religious holidays. Inside the city, near the sheep gate, was Bethsaida Pool, with 5 covered platforms or porches surrounding it. Crowds of sick folks, lame, blind, or with paralyzed limbs, lay on the platforms, waiting for a certain movement of the water. For an angel of the Lord came from time to time and disturbed the water, and the first person to step down into it afterwards was healed. One of the men lying there had been sick for 38 years. When Jesus saw him and knew how long he had been ill, he asked him, "Would you like to get well?" "I can't," the sick man said. "He doubts." "For I have no one to help me into the pool at the movement of the water. While I am trying to get there, someone else always gets in ahead of me." Jesus told him, "Stand up, roll up your sleeping mat, and go on home." Instantly the man was healed. He rolled up the mat and began walking. But it was on the Sabbath when this miracle was done, so the Jewish leaders objected. They said to the man who was cured, "You can't work on the Sabbath. It's illegal to carry out that sleeping mat." "The man who healed me told me to," was his reply. "Who said such a thing as that?" they demanded. The man didn't know, and Jesus had disappeared into the crowd. But afterwards Jesus found him in the temple and told him, "Now you are well. Don't sin as you did before, or something even worse may happen to you." Then the man went to find the Jewish leaders and told them it was Jesus who had healed him. They began harassing Jesus as a Sabbath breaker. But Jesus replied, "My Father constantly does good, and I am following his example." Then the Jewish leaders were all the more eager to kill him because, in addition to disobeying their Sabbath laws, he had spoken of God as his Father, therefore making himself equal with God. Jesus replied, "The Son can do nothing by himself. He does only what he sees the Father doing. And in the same way, for the Father loves the Son and tells him everything he is doing. And the Son will do far more awesome miracles than this man's healing. He will even raise from the dead anyone he wants to, for just as the Father does, and the Father leaves all judgment of sin to his Son, so that everyone will honor the Son, just as they honor the Father. But if you refuse to honor God's Son, whom he sent to you, then you are certainly not honoring the Father." Now we move on to Psalms chapter 105, verses 39 to 45. He spread out a cloud above them to shield them from the burning sun, and gave them a pillar of flame at night to give them light. They asked for meat, and he sent them quail. He gave them manna, bread from heaven. He opened up a rock, and water gushed out to form a river through the dry and barren land. For he remembered his sacred promises to Abraham, his servant. So he brought his chosen ones singing into the promised land. He gave them the lands of the Gentiles, complete with their growing crops. They ate what others planted. This was done to make them faithful and obedient to his laws. Hallelujah! I would say hallelujah louder, but it's still rather early or late, depending on your point of view. Anyway, finally, we have Proverbs for today, chapter 14, verses 28 and 29. A growing population is a king's glory. A dwindling nation is his doom. A wise man controls his temper. He knows that anger causes mistakes. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy this reading, and as always,